You are now listening to Ride With Me, the Flat Tire Podcast.
Welcome to Ride With Me, episode 78. Today is May 21, 2022, and today's guest is another TikTok star sensation, upcoming podcaster, my new friend Barbie.
Namaste. What's up, guys?
Barbie is, like I said, I ran out of real friends, and I have to make friends on TikTok, and Barbie came across my page, and I came across hers, and she was like, shit, let me be a podcast guest. So we're going to test run here, because in August, I believe you said you're going to start your own?
Yes. So hopefully mid to end of August, once my kiddos start school again and all that good stuff.
Before we get into this conversation, I do want to thank everyone that spent an hour a day to listen to my podcast. I was doing the math last night. I have so many episodes that it's a total of 3 days and like about 6 hours. So I want to thank everyone that has spent the time, apparently 3 days and 6 hours, to listen to every single one of my episodes. We're talking to the regular listeners. We're talking to the people that hit me up and say, hey, when are you going to post the next one? So thank you, Victor. I know you recently hit me up. Thank you, bro. Here's your shout out. What I'm going to start doing is, because I don't know who all my listeners are, but what I'm going to start doing is the first 5 people to share this podcast episode on their social media, I will give them a shout out next episode. I think that's right. I think that's a good thing.
That's a good deal. There you go.
So I'm gonna start doing that, guys. So thanks to those that hit me up and asked, when are you posting the next episode?
All right.
So now on to Barbie. Again, I met Barbie through on TikTok, because that's how I make my friends now. And my buddy just hit me up. Hey, you want to play Call of Duty? And I told him, bro, not right now. Podcasting. So he called me Mr. Celebrity or some shit like that.
You know, deep down inside, you're dying to play.
But I do.
Hello, here I am.
I do, but they have neglected me for the past 5 months. And on my birthday, I asked them. All I wanted was for them to play Call of Duty with me, and they ignored me.
Ew.
So this is worse than not getting one of those drive-by birthday shout-outs. This is worse.
Oh, man.
2020, I didn't get my drive-by, and now I didn't get to play Call of Duty.
I never got one of those either, and I wanted one. I live in an apartment complex.
My wife's like, are you serious, dude? Did you really want one? I'm like, I'm fucking 40. Of course not. I'm messing around.
No, shoot. I want one. I saw all of them for the kids, and I was like, hey, I want to feel special like that. I had a little princess crown on.
Right, right. My wife made this big old balloon arch with gold and white and black and 40 hanging from the ceiling and everything. I was like, babe, we didn't invite anyone.
But she wanted to make you feel special.
She did.
So that's love.
She did. So I appreciate the art. I came home. So this has already been what? My birthday was on the 2nd. So I came home yesterday, 18 days later, and all the balloons were gone. I was like, what the fuck?
It's supposed to last the whole month.
Right? How come everybody can celebrate their birthday all month and I can't? Nah, that's cool. No, I kind of wanted the balloons gone already.
Too much.
Yeah. So again, let's introduce Barbie. Barbie, where did you get the name Barbie from?
Okay, so obviously that is not my government name.
Government?
That's what everybody says. They're like, yo, what's your real name? I'm like, my government? I can't give that. But no, so it actually stems from when I was a little kid. Obviously, growing up, little girls love Barbie dolls, but I loved Barbie for a different reason. When I used to see the commercials of the new Barbies coming out, whether she was a secretary, a doctor, a vet, whatever new job or career path she was going down, I used to turn to my mom and say, Mommy, I want to do that. I want to be just like Barbie. I want to run the world, and I want to do all these different things. So my mom was like, well, one day you'll be my grown Barbie girl. And from then on, she just kept calling me Barbie, and it kind of stuck. And so I think I was about 22, and I went and I was like, I want to get something for my mom. And I got Barbie tattooed on the back of my neck, but it actually looks like the Mattel Barbie logo.
Gotcha.
With the copyright and everything. So I have that on the back of my neck. But yeah, it came from my mama.
You got that tattoo for your mom or for you?
Actually, well, I liked it. It was you know what? It was for the both of us. But no, I really did it because my mom was always like, why don't you do something that's, for me? Like, you have all these tattoos, do something for me. And so when I got it, she was like, okay, that's my favorite tattoo now. So,
How many tattoos do you have?
too many to count, like over 40 now,
I
I
weigh.
think. Yeah, I personally would love to be anywhere from 85 to 90% covered, but that's just me because I think tattoos are so artistic and they express who you are. So,
Yeah, I think back in what is it? We're talking '09. I got this little Dallas Cowboy helmet on my arm, and it was tiny little thing, right? Little speck of a tattoo. And then what was it? 2 years ago, that tattoo to me meant something else. That tattoo gave me bad memories of because of who paid for this tattoo. Baby mama, baby
ah,
mama, and so I had her. My wife has a cousin that's really great at shading. Tattoos are
uh-huh.
amazing. I would give him a shout out, but he didn't sponsor the episode. But so I had him just redo the just cover it up with the better tattoo, a more 3D enhanced tattoo. The one I had looked like something a 5-year-old drew. And this one
Ah,
is like enhanced 3D, the arm head raising the helmet. And
nice.
but when he was giving me that, I don't know how you've gone through 40 of them. Me just going through this one, I almost passed out.
Well, actually, I'm in the process, speaking of, people who from the past, I am actually working on a tattoo on my right side, and it's a cover up of my ex-husband's initials in a king
Oh,
crown. And so far, I've done 14 hours, and I still have God knows how many more hours left
did you
on
know
this.
that
So, yeah.
getting a spouse's name on your or anywhere is bad luck?
I've heard that, but you know what? Knock on wood, I have my current husband's initial on my ring finger. The only thing about that I do say is all of us, in between myself, him, and our kids, we all have our first name is with the letter A. So if we were to ever break up, God forbid, I'd be like, nah, that's my son or that's me.
Yeah, no, so I have my kids' names so it's a Dallas Cowboy helmet, and their names are, how when well, I don't know if you've gone to a training camp, but when you get an
Yes,
autograph from a player, they
yeah,
sign their number and then their name.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
the kids' names on my helmet are actually the year they were born and then their name. The name
Oh,
that
I like that.
they actually signed their name, not on my arm, but it was on a piece of paper where they signed their
That's
name.
cute.
And I do have my wife's initial, and if we were to ever divorce, it's an L for losers because they've been losing for so fucking long.
Oh my God,
You
I
can
know it's kind of sad, but this is a Cowboys house as well, so it is kind of sad, but we still love them, and of course, us being in Texas, gotta represent all the time. I'm surprised. I normally have something up here. I have some like a
yeah.
not a tattoo, the star or something. I have to get something new here,
Yeah, no,
like I have
I
in my
have
background.
every time my buddies come over to record here live at my studio, my garage, they're like, "Fuck this garage." So, anyways, but back to you. I love your husband and son's names. No, I mean just saying.
Because I mean, they're like the greatest names ever.
Fuck yeah, Andy, Andres. That's right.
Yep.
My wife's like, "Who's coming to the podcast?" I don't know, but her husband is Andres and her son is Andres. So,
Yep.
but so you originally live in Texas, but are you from Jersey or?
I'm originally from Hudson County, New Jersey. Moved around a lot, lived in Jersey City, born in Secaucus, lived in Jersey City, lived in North Bergen, Weehawken, all over the place. And my husband and I actually met in Jersey City at St. Peter's University. It's called St. Peter's University now. Back then it was St. Peter's College. So we met there and we ended up living in Union City together. And then from being in Union City, we came out here to Texas once we had our youngest.
How long you guys been living in Texas for?
Since 2018. Actually, on my birthday, July 21st. Anybody ever want to remember that? Send me some gifts, July 21st, 2018, we moved out here.
Yeah, we moved out here too. I'm originally from Oxnard, Ventura County. Weather
Hmm.
is it hits 90 like once every 10 years. And Oxnard is like 87 is like, holy shit, we're dying. But we moved to LA County, La Puente area, in La Puente, I mean, in 2017, so a year before you moved to Texas. And the weather out here is like, when I see people complaining about the weather over there, 87, bro, really? Really? Like, but anyways, but yeah, no, it is a drastic change at first. When we first moved out here, whose decision was it to move to Texas?
Okay, so when we got together, I met him in college, got married to another dude. We stayed friends. And then when we got together, finally, it was based around, I wanted to start a family. I wanted to have that family. And so did he. And so we decided, okay, we're going to start a family, but we don't really want to raise our family here in Jersey. So many of our friends, unfortunately, that we know, didn't go down the right path, and they were a product of their environment. And so we wanted to do something different for our kids. And obviously living in Jersey has gotten so expensive. So we were like, nah, we need to find somewhere else. So we were looking around for places. And finally, my husband was like, well, my best friend lives in Texas. Let's go visit. Neither one of us have gone. And from then on, like, we got on the plane, got here, and the moment I got off the plane, just that sense of like relief and, oh my God, this is where I need to be. I had that immediately, and so did he. And so we were just like, I think Texas is where we're gonna end up. That's where we want to raise our family. So
I asked that question because when we moved out here, I think I gave my wife hell for like 2 years, until I finally kind of adjusted, and it is what it is. Type.
It took Dre about 6 months to almost a year to finally feel like this was actually home, and he wasn't on vacation. He kept saying, like, I feel like I got to get ready to go back home. Like, we're getting ready to go back to Jersey. I'm like, we ain't going back to Jersey anytime soon.
Whenever we go visit Oxnard, because I obviously still have family out there, cousins, friends. I mainly go to go visit my friends, the guys that stood me up on Call of Duty for 5 months. I usually go and visit them, but the one thing is the kids are like, they always want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And I know it kind of bothers my wife when I say, we're home. But Oxnard will always be my home. That's the reason why I have an 805 number. I'm not going to change. That's a little piece of home. Maybe I have bad memories out there. It was horrible, growing up. But it's still home. I like it here.
Same thing.
I like it here. Like I said, it's been, a long time already. And I've adjusted finally. And even my mother-in-law told one of my sister-in-laws a few weeks ago, Andres has come around. Like he's
he's finally
liking it after 5 years.
Same thing. Like, I mean, we love Jersey. Don't get me wrong. It's where we're from. Like, and when we go back, we have fun. But it's just too much. It's
different,
chaotic.
Right?
It's so different. The people, like everybody back home, it's all hustle bustle. Everybody's just on the move. Nobody takes the time to really sit back and enjoy the day and what's coming at them. And I think that's what was so different for us coming here, being as it was so different, like so busy in Jersey, New York. Coming out here, things slow down. People acknowledge one another. Like, I remember, quick story, getting off the plane when we came to visit Texas for the first time. My oldest, Andres, he was about 2 years old. He ran up to some lady, sat next to her, put his hand on her lap and was like, hi, how are you? Where are you from? I'm Andres. Where are you going? What are you doing? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, this woman is going to be like, what the F? Like, who is this kid? Because of course, back home, Dre and I have gotten into, arguments with rude people who didn't want to acknowledge him just smiling at them saying hi. Like, somebody was like, I don't want to talk to you. Why are you talking to me, little boy? And I was like, so this lady just, took him, looked around to make sure that his parents were around. And I'm looking at her with this face, and she just gave me like that little hand gesture, like, don't worry. Started talking to him. And then she comes up to me. She was like, he is absolutely amazing. He's just so friendly. Welcome to Texas. I can tell this is your first time. And I was like, sigh of relief. Oh my God. I was like, this is where I need to be. Like, people are just friendly. The atmosphere is just different.
Yeah, I went to Texas back in August to visit my grandma, and I've said the story already, but we go to the local Walmart, and it's like, oh, Cowboy fan. Cowboy fan. Oh, there's
Right?
and they're talking to you all politely. Oh, I'm home. I'm
Right?
home. But yeah,
Dre
no,
did that too.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. I mean that your son at 2 just ran up to somebody. Well, you said 2, right?
Yeah.
This random person, and I mean I see that out here too. It's like I think moving out here. No. I don't think. I know that moving out here did my kids good, and I've said this multiple times. I've said this recently. I'm molded into the person that I was supposed to be, And
oh my God, so true.
And it took my wife multiple years, because in therapy, I mean, they told her, if you're going to marry this man, you need to have a lot of patience because he has a lot of triggers, and so she's molded me into the individual that I need to be, which has helped also my kids to. I see my kids and I look at them with amaze. I mean, like, just driving them yesterday to visit their mom, I hand over my kids and I'm staring at them. I'm so proud of them. And that wouldn't be the individuals that they are if it wasn't for my wife. And so
big ups to her. Listen, when you find somebody who is able to push you to better yourself, that's what it's about. Like I said, my ex-husband, he was a great first husband. I'll say that. Good guy, but as far as us being together was not meant for us. Dre has been the same thing. He came into this relationship and I had a lot of triggers. I had a lot of baggage, a lot of everything. And he took that on and it was just like, you know what? I'll pick you up, Humpty Dumpty. I got you. I'll put you back together and make sure you never fall apart again.
That's cool.
So when it takes a strong person. And so big ups to your wife, because like I said, it's a strong person who can deal with people like us who have gone through so much in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends that also kind of like, motivate me and kind of push me in the path. Sometimes their ways can be a little aggressive and I tell them to fuck off in my mind. But at the end of the day, it took a different environment. It's like, how they say you can take him out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of him. Well, that's the vice. That's the opposite for me. I feel that her taking me out of Oxnard was the best decision for my mental health, for my kids. And do I stress out? Do I panic? Do I still have some of my triggers? My buddy just told me recently that I looked so broken, but it was just a bad week of work. That's it. I get in my funks once in a while, and then I get out of them. So but I come home and I can come home in a really shitty mood from work, and then my wife is all like giddy and happy and like, what the hell? What are you taking? What are you on? And
but it changes your mood. It helps to change your mood.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I play the cold-hearted, like, back off. Because even my kids sometimes are like, Dad, look at this shirt. It's as black as your heart. Or, Dad,
ay Dios,
Dad, this drink is so cold like your heart. I'm like, oh my God.
So dramatic,
right? But nah, they it does take an individual, like they say, it's like you are who you hang around with, and it sounds like you got yourself a good husband that molded you into a better person. I got a wife that molded me into a better person, and then here we are, freaking sharing our stories to help other people as best as we can. So your husband and your son are both Andres. But you have another child, right?
I have a smaller one, yes, and his name is Austin.
So I see the A's. You know what? My mom did the same thing with A's for a long time. There's Alejandro, me, Andres. There's Angel. There's Alfredo. There's her with the A also. And a lot of us are born on the 2nd of the month. April 2nd, May 2nd, October 2nd, September 2nd, like food stamp day.
Y'all were your parents were making sure to get it on specific dates. Like
food stamp day. It was food stamp day back in the day when the food stamps came in the mail.
Oh my God, damn.
How are the boys in school?
They're good. So my oldest has ADHD, and moving out here, when we first moved out here, we moved to Arlington, and the area that we lived in was just like being, if anybody is from New Jersey and y'all are from Jersey City hood, like Greenville area is what Arlington, the part of Arlington that we moved to, was very familiar to. And so we were like, oh, no, 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 we got to get out of here. We lived there for 6 months, and we had to break the contract to the apartment because there was a shooting right in front of our bedroom window. And the shooter actually saw my husband, left, and came back around looking for him. So I was freaking out. I was like, nope, my kids can't play here. We got to get out of here. And so we were, within, I think, like 2 weeks, we were out of that apartment. I was just like, nope. And so moving AJ out here, he started with the 504 plan back home his first year. And when we moved here in Arlington, they made it seem like he was on a special ed program. And so they actually told him he didn't have to do a lot of the work because he wasn't smart enough. And I was like, no, 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 no. So we ended up moving out to Fort Worth, where we're at now, and it's near the Keller ISD, and it's been the most amazing experience. He's finally got a program that works for him. The school district is just amazing. They do everything and anything they can to help. And so he's developed and grown so much. And then my youngest wants to be just like him. And so, of course, he's developed into this so mature 4-year-old. So out here, I think moving to Texas was beyond amazing and has changed every expectation I ever had to something even more. So they're doing great. They're doing amazing.
So
my youngest,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I'm sorry. So I was going to ask, I have a tendency of cutting people off. My buddy's told me multiple times. That's why I try to do this, but I didn't do it.
You're good.
Is that the reason your son having ADHD? ADHD. Is that the reason why you're a stay-at-home mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I was working in the medical field, and I had some issues at where I was working. And so I had to leave, and my husband was like, you know what? We're better off than what we were when we first got here, when we were living in Jersey. He was like, I can do everything by myself. I don't need you to work. He's like, I know you like working, but with the baby getting ready to start school, I would rather you be at home taking care of them, making sure you can go to the PTA meetings, you could do all this stuff. So that's what I get to do now, and I'm excited.
My wife, and I've said it before, my wife actually put her career on hold when I took custody of the kids. So for 7 years, did we struggle? Did we have to eat beans for a while? Did I cry some mornings because my paycheck came in and my bills were more than my paychecks? Yes. Mm-hmm. But if that wasn't the case, these boys wouldn't be the great little teenagers that they are. Education-wise.
That's awesome.
Education-wise, because they're little pricks. Well,
I mean, maybe it's a boy thing, because my kids are, oh my God. Sometimes I'm like, baby kids, I'm going to hang you by your balls on the chandelier or something.
I dropped off my kid, like I said, I dropped off my kids last night with their mom, because she lives in Bakersfield. So we meet in Valencia. We meet halfway. Mm-hmm. And Valencia's where Six Flags is at out here. Okay, so we meet there. And my son, I told her, and don't get him any B-Bucks. She's like, why, Dad? I'm like, why are we going to spend money on something you can't play right now? I can almost play it. And I told him, I don't go to work to drive this car. I go to work to drive this car. I don't go to work to almost drive this car. Mm-hmm. And everybody was laughing. And that was my drop the mic and drove off. Like,
what is it with these kids?
But yeah,
especially with the V-Bucks now.
Yeah, they're good when it comes to education. You know, they kind of get on each other's throats. So good luck for that one. Once the little one turns into a teenager. And good luck. And then I separate them as much as possible sometimes. But they love each other. It's a trip. Sometimes, like, what the fuck? 5 minutes ago, you guys were about to kill each other. And now they're all like, we were just now playing, Dad. No, you guys were not fucking playing. You guys were freaking at each other's throats. It's the difference. My grandpa used to separate us, and you can't go in his room. He can't go in your room. So that's what it is. Oh, my God.
And they share a room right now, because my oldest says, as much as he argues with Austin, he does not want him to have his own room yet. He's like, no, I want to stay with him as long as possible. I'm like, you say that now. You're getting ready to go to middle school. He's about to start pre-K. You guys are going to be at it even more.
Yeah, they're the same. They don't want to be separated. I'm like, so we had to upgrade their beds, and then we had to, like, we have technically it's not a spare bedroom anymore, because it's my wife's office. So when my daughter decided to go back to live with her mom, we had the spare bedroom, and for a long time, like, what the hell? So my wife ended up turning it into her office. So it's like, Damn, muy chingo, muy fancy. I'm over here in the garage, and you're like, over,
I was about to say she got a nice room. You got the
right?
garage, but that's love, though. That's
Yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
That's
is.
love.
It is. But what else was I gonna ask? I usually don't ask. I'm not that kind of podcaster. But I feel like I've had multiple questions. Uh, your husband.
Well,
Let's
I
ask
think,
one last
yeah.
question about your husband. What does he do? What's up with him? I
So
mean, first of
he
all, awesome name. Just saying.
Andres. He is a terminal manager for a trucking company that right now it seems like they're trying to build him up to expand even more because right now he deals with Fort Worth, but he's also been helping in Dallas and giving ideas for Houston. So he's done a lot of work and he's doing really well for himself. Last year, kudos to him, he was number one the entire year
Muy
for the
chingon.
entire company. Yeah, for the entire company. So he went 2 months ago and like got his award and stuff, and it was just really cool to watch. And I'm so proud of him. Like he's worked so hard, and since moving out here, like I said, the change has been amazing. He's grown so much as well, not just for the kids, but for us individually as well, and for us as a couple. And like we said before, having somebody that pushes you, it's because of him that not only am I able to stay home, but I'm able to stay home. And while the kids are in school, I can do the things that I like. I love to model and I love to be on TikTok and, get to know people and stuff like that. So it's been really fun and it's been a good experience.
That's cool. I had other people. My grandpa was a trucker, and I just recently found out that he was a well-respected trucker.
That's
I
awesome.
learned that I learned when my grandma passed away back in December that he was a paycheck to paycheck kind of guy. So his whole life he was
Mhm.
paycheck to paycheck, and you
Yeah.
know, and then I went to a barbecue with my aunt who lives here in La Puente. It's funny coincidence that we moved to La Puente, and I have family in La Puente, and
Mhm.
we went barbecued finally after a couple of years of them asking, and I finally went, and he was telling me that my grandfather was very well respected in the trucking community world. So for in the 90s and obviously in his 2000s, but I mean, props to what your husband does, because I wouldn't get my
Thank you.
Amazon
Thank you.
packages if it wasn't for him, or my wife wouldn't
Thank
get her
you.
Amazon packages if it wasn't for him. But
True, true.
let's get to the topic of today. I started TikTok because I just like that, boom, like that, just 360, boom, done. um, I got on TikTok again to promote my podcast, and obviously my little links have caught people's attention where they asked me to come on. Here we are with you on the podcast.
Mhm.
Why did? Well, I know why you started your TikTok, but I have to ask so that my listeners can hear, my 50 listeners. Why did you why did you start your TikTok?
I started my TikTok because, like I said, my husband gave me the opportunity to stay home, and he was like, "Do the stuff that you're passionate about." I like to model, and I like to promote self-love and body positivity. And so I started on TikTok because I wanted to make videos to help promote that self-love and bring a little bit more love to the world rather than all this hate and animosity. Growing up, I had a lot of issues and things that I went through personally. And so I had my depression, deep, dark depression, and, I suffer from anxiety, and I had all of these issues that were kind of drowning me for a while. And I had to dig myself out of there and really find my own love for myself and for who I was and what I've been through. And so I started TikTok so that I can bring that awareness and that love to other people. And I wish I was Supergirl and I could save the whole world. And so if I could do it one person at a time, then I'm doing something right. And so I wanted to make videos to make people laugh, to, just be goofy and stuff like that, but to also have random moments where I'm like, listen, if you're struggling, you're not the only person. Like, you can get through this. My biggest thing is I like to say namaste the shit out of it. That is my slogan for everything and anything that goes on in my life. I like to bring blessings to myself and upon others, and to make sure that I'm bringing that positive love to other people.
Is that your Akura Makata bitches moment?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that really is. That really is. It's actually helped. I had a friend who recently just went through ovarian cancer, and she reached out to me one day and was just like, I need some motivation. I need a positive affirmation from you. Please just give me something because I'm really struggling right now. And when she said that, I was just like, baby girl, you know what you got to do? Just namaste the shit out of it. And she just looked at me. She goes, why don't you, that's like, just, you always say that, that's like your slogan, that just needs to be your thing. She's like, that gives me so much, it makes me feel so powerful just hearing that, because I know that, you know what, somebody else is struggling and they're going through it too, but they're blessing me and I'm going to bless them. So she just recently told me about a week ago, she finally got the confirmation she is cancer free and she is in remission. And I'm so, so happy for her. And she was like, I did the damn thing. I namaste the shit out of it and it's gone. And I was like, that's right. That's what you got to do.
Nice. That's real good. That's like my buddy. He recently told me, because he wasn't a big fan of what the topic of my podcast was about. He wanted us to come on here and bullshit, and after the first 2 episodes, I kind of had to fire him. Love you, Roger. Just kidding. Because I wanted to talk about, he's like, you're only going to talk about your life and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm going to help. I want to help people understand that if they're going through some shitty times, that they're not alone, and it's happened to multiple people. It's funny because after doing my podcast, I've learned that, oh shit, now I'm learning that, oh shit, I'm not the only one this has happened to, you know?
Yeah.
And I have people come up to me and say, fuck, dude, your daughter is not biologically your daughter? I'm like, yeah, I raised her since day one. He goes, you don't even introduce her as a stepdaughter. No, I don't. She's my daughter. Exactly. So the same friend recently told me, you know what, I get it now. After 77 episodes, I get it now. I understand what your purpose of your podcast is. And you know what, man? There's a few people out there that are better now because of you. Which, if that's true or not, it meant a lot that this goofball said that. You know, so
it means a lot when you can empower somebody else, even if it's, you know, by trying to make a joke out of your hard times. Like for my TikTok, a lot of my videos, I tend to have my shirt up with my pants unbuckled because, one, I'm showing my mom bod because I gotta be proud. Like, my stretch marks and my fupa came from my beautiful kids that I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to have at one point, you know? They're both rainbow children. And for anybody that doesn't know what a rainbow child is a child born after having a miscarriage. And so I had 4 miscarriages before having my boys. And so I am proud. I've learned to embrace, you know, the flaws that I have. And I have multiple scars up and down my stomach and my chest because I was in a car accident when I was 18. And so I've also learned to embrace those even after having issues of, I remember one time at the beach, this was about a year after having my car accident, I had a little boy, very innocent, and of course kids have no filter, runs up to me and goes, "Oh my God, you look just like Frankenstein."
Ouch.
And I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, holy cow. Of course, that made me even more depressed, you know, because of everything that happened. And then being called Frankenstein, I started hating my body and I started hating what I saw in the mirror. And so finally being able to love myself and having that confidence, that's why a lot of my videos, I'm out there just flaunting that, because I'm like, listen, this is what you got to love. Love who you are. Embrace your flaws. Like, nobody's meant to be perfect. Nobody's meant to look the same. We all have a story, and our stories will bring us together, and it helps us to understand one another. And so that's a part of my TikTok too, being able to express who I am.
What caught my attention was one of your videos where you're calling out this troll about because I think he was criticizing one of your videos, and you're like, you know what? I don't normally do this, but in a polite way, fuck you, you know.
And it's true though. You can't have. And of course, when you're putting yourself out there on a podcast, on TikTok, Instagram, all these social networks, you're gonna get somebody who's got something to say, even if it's just to, spark a conversation or light a fire under your ass.
So I commented on that video. I'm like, holy shit, I want you on my podcast. And then he commented on me, nobody likes your podcast. I'm like, report.
Yeah,
I reported his ass.
It's just somebody to spark something and to get you going. And you know what? That doesn't offend me. Back then, if it was me a couple years ago, yeah, it probably would have offended me so bad. I probably would have canceled my account and just like gone into another deep depression. But for me, I had already been on there for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I know that I'm helping people. I've had people DM me saying, "Oh my God, because of you, I've had a mom actually hit me up. She was like, never in my life have I ever thought I would buy a 2-piece bathing suit because I've hated myself and what I look like." She goes, "For the first time, I just bought a 2-piece and I'm rocking it and I feel so confident and beautiful." And even my husband is like, "Oh my God, this newfound confidence. You're so sexy. Like, what is this?" And I'm like, you know what? I did that. So I took it upon myself and I was like, yeah, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to tell you about yourself, my friend. Let me tell you who you are. Before you come after somebody, 1, you don't come after somebody you don't know. 2, you don't come after somebody's kids, because that's a big hell no.
Yeah.
And 3, like, you just look foolish. You look foolish. Let me tell you who you are, and let me tell you about me. I'm not somebody you're going to break. And so I felt like that also gave me another boost of confidence, because I was like, you know what? I can actually stand up to somebody like this. I never could before. Yeah. And so that made me feel even better.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. He had no videos. He had no videos. He had no comments. He had nothing. Fuck that guy.
And I think his picture was, I don't
something
even know.
Stupid.
It was like, yeah, I was like, come on now. You
Fuck
hiding behind
guy.
a computer screen.
Fuck
Like, get out of my face.
Yeah. I was like, I reported his ass. Fuck that guy.
I've had so many people do the same thing. They were like, I reported him. That was so whack. I was like, whatever. It is what it is.
The whole, self-confidence and stuff like that. Like, my wife has fought with a certain medical condition that is very hard for her to lose weight. And I don't see her as, a fat individual. I don't. Mm-hmm. That's not how I see her. But, when we go out to family gatherings, she's very self-conscious of getting a second plate, because somebody will make a fucking comment that pisses me the fuck off, and I want to go punch him. I said him in the face, and so when I come home, and she's all, like I said earlier, giddy and all happy and all, like, to me, even though I won't fucking say it, but to me, that's fucking sexy. To me, that's fucking a beautiful individual. Not, it's okay. Who's there? Your son?
My youngest.
Tell him to come say hi.
You want to come say hi?
Tell him to come say hi. It's okay. So, like I was saying,
okay,
that's
you want
more.
To be with me? Come on.
That's more. Like I said.
Mire, his name is Andres también.
What's
like
up, buddy?
Daddy and AJ.
Hi.
Say hi. See, I told you, I was like, this is the one that's up my butt and around the corner, won't let me do nothing. You want to get your iPad and you can lay in the bed and listen to it here? Go ahead. Go get your stuff. Make sure you have your headphones.
Batman sucks.
Say, hey, I like Batman.
I ate all my dishwasher.
Good job.
It was good.
All right, good job. Go get your stuff and you can lay down here.
No.
Good job. Go ahead.
Normally, I would have deleted this audio, but nah, I let it ride. A mom being a mom.
I told you he's the one that is up my butt and around the corner and does not want to cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, no, so like I was saying, me coming home and her being all giddy and happy, to me that's beautiful. To me, because she's pretty much letting the world problems behind her, Like I just recently she called me upset about my boys left they made a mess of water on the countertop in the bathroom, and they wet the brand new box of Q-tips, and I'm like I kind of snapped at her over the phone, and I caught myself now that I'll apologize sooner than normal, and I've actually texted her and I say, hey, sorry for snapping, but there's way bigger problems in this world than a $2 box of Q-tips. Yeah. I can replace the Q-tips. There is no point in sweating the little things.
But you
And
know what? Sometimes as a mom, it's the little things because it's like you can't get them to acknowledge or listen, and it's frustrating having to repeat yourself over and over again,
that's what
and they don't do it.
that's what her point was. That's exactly what her point was. But even though that's you're agreeing with her on that one, even though that's the case, yeah, she's still. I when I came home with, after work and after school, she actually did go apologize to the boys and said, hey, you know what, maybe I kind of overreacted a little, but I told her just recently, we gotta stop sweating the little shit. We gotta
Hmm.
stop sweating the little shit. I've never thought that I would ever say 80 on number 7, ever. I'd never assume I've ever say 80 on number 7.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
we
it's
gotta
hard,
sweat the little
and
things. We gotta just let them go.
yeah, and it's hard, and sometimes I have to let the some of the comments, like I've had some nasty comments where I'm like, all right, I just gotta let this one roll off my shoulders. Like whatever, it is what it is. You're always gonna have somebody with something to say, but I can totally feel what your wife goes through because I too have had my own health issues where I suffered with a lot of weight gain and then weight loss and all that stuff. So I have loose skin and I don't have the body that I would love to have, but it's okay because I look at it and I embrace, listen, I went through a lot. My body went through a lot. And as a female, no offense to you dudes, we take a lot. Our body goes through so much just to be able to continue with life and bring new life in here.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, you know what? Women, you need to learn to embrace that. And even for men, because I've had guys hit me up and say, you know what, thank you for being confident and showing that self love, not just only to women, but bringing us in there too and representing for us. Because I've had men tell me, with you being confident and saying some of the things that you say to us men makes me feel like, okay, I don't have to have the washboard abs or look picture perfect, like all this. I'm like, listen, even dad bods can get it, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong with looking different and embracing your flaws. Like, that's what makes you beautiful. And when you can rock that, that confidence is gonna bring so much attention because people are gonna be like, damn, hey, you sexy, you look good. Like, and it's because of your confidence of who you are. And I think that that's what needs to be brought out more to people
Yeah.
and have more people talk about that.
This attitude that you have about positivity and did it have to do with the car crash? Because I heard something on your video about the outcome of what happened,
Yeah.
during that car crash.
Yeah. So backstory on the car crash. And if I do get emotional, I'm sorry. It's just it was a lot. I was 18 years
If
old.
we don't get someone to cry on my podcast, is it really a podcast?
Oh my God. You might get me to cry for this though. Okay, so I was 18 years old and it was my freshman year of college, and my friend, who one of my best friends who I met at school, actually passed away in front of us. Nothing, we don't know what happened. There was no rhyme or reason for what happened. He just literally died. He wasn't feeling well, and he started saying that his head was hurting. He felt like he was coming down with a cold. And so this was a kid who never drank, never did drugs, never did anything wrong. So we brought him back up to the dorms because we were dorming, and we gave him some Tylenol and Advil, and we were like, just rest, hopefully it's like a bug that's just going to pass. And one of my girlfriends was in the room with him, keeping him company. They were watching a movie, and she was like, yo, get up and do your John Travolta Saturday Night Fever or whatever dance. And he was like, nah, I can't do it. She was like, come on, it'll make you feel good, it'll make you feel good. And he went to get up, and he just fell face first.
Oh shit.
And she was there with another one of her friends, and she was like, come on, Danny, get up, like that's not funny. And of course, he passed gas. And for those who don't understand, when somebody passes away, the first thing that they do is their body starts releasing air and all of that. And they were like, yo, that's not funny. Why are you farting on the floor? And they tried to move him, and he was dead weight. So they called 911. They started calling all of us that were there to come into the room. And I was actually coming back with my boyfriend at the time from, I think we were at some party for like a sorority or whatever. And I see Danny in a stretcher, and I see my girl screaming, and she's got all his stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? She's like, you need to take his phone. You need to call his parents because they only know you. Call his parents, let them know he's going to the hospital. So our resident advisors went with them to the hospital. I ended up following the ambulance, going to the hospital. I called my mom. It was like 12:30 at night. I'm like, Mommy, you need to get here. I need you to meet me in the hospital. Danny's on his way. Something's going on. He flatlined basically in the room. And so we get to the hospital after I've called his parents, and he lived in Virginia. His parents lived in Virginia at the time. So I have them now driving out here at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're in the ER, we're in the waiting room. And I'm telling my mom, I'm like, Mommy, I have that gut feeling. And, I don't like being in hospitals. I don't like any of this. And she was like, just relax. It's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. And I see the doctors coming in to the waiting area, talking to the resident advisors and just shaking their head. And I looked at my mom and I just started bawling. I was like, that's it. He's gone. Like, they couldn't get him.
Yeah.
And so the resident advisors, there was about 6 of us there because it was a group that we hung out with. And it was just us that was at the hospital. And they were like, I'm really sorry to let you know, but Danny didn't make it. And I just was a hot mess. He was one of the first people that I met at school. And it was so funny because when we first met, I was like, oh my God, you are such a good looking dude. Where are you from? What's your background? He was like, I'm Mexican. And I was like, yo, no disrespect, but you are the tallest Mexican I have ever seen in my life, bro. And he starts laughing. And from then on, like, we just got really close, and he became one of my best friends. And when they said that he didn't make it, it shattered me. Like, it took everything because one, this is one of the first people I met. 2, we became so close. And 3, I'm like, how do I call his parents and say that he's gone? Like, it was my responsibility. I had to let them know. I was like, what do I do? And so that night, it was the worst night ever. And a week before that, my childhood friend had been murdered. So Danny was the one that was with me, helping me through it. And so I was just like, I got to go through all of this, and I don't have Danny with me to help me. Like, how am I going to get through this?
Yeah.
So the next day, I was just still a hot mess, so distraught. I was like, I don't want to be in the dorms anymore. So I told my boyfriend and I told one of my friends, I was like, can we just do something and get out of here? Like, get out of the dorms, because being here just reminds me of him. And so it was myself, my roommate, my other male best friend at the time, and my boyfriend, my ex-husband. And we decided, all right, we're going to make a day. We're going to go to the Liberty Science Center, go to the mall, just chill out. My boyfriend at the time was like, you know what? I do have a bad feeling. I don't want to go out. Something's not right. He goes, but I'm not going to let you go out by yourself. God forbid something happens. So I was like, all right, because I'm not staying here. So we ended up going out. We went to Liberty Science Center, hung out, which is like, it's like a indoor museum type learning center for kids.
Okay.
But it's still fun even as an adult. There's still a lot of fun things to do. So we did that, and then we ended up at the mall, and we're getting ready to leave the mall, and I got a phone call from one of my friends from when I was a kid, because he was giving me the information about my boy who had been murdered, giving me, when the funeral was, when the memorial, everything was going to be. And I was like, all right, so I'll meet up with you tonight because, we'll schedule everything and we'll know what we're going to do. Got in the car, and that is the last thing I remember. And then I remember waking up in the hospital with tubes in my mouth, staples in my stomach, my arm in a cast, not being able to really move. And that's all I remember.
So were you on the phone while the car was in motion?
No, I got off the phone, got in the car, and that's the last thing I remember is getting in the car, sitting in the back seat. And I bought a little hermit crab, and I named it Danny. I bought a little hermit crab, and I named it Danny. And I was sitting in the car in the back seat, and that's literally like the last thing I remember. I don't even remember
driving off
out of the parking lot of the mall. And we had the accident 5 minutes away from campus. And so that's about a 25-minute drive that I don't remember.
So you also feel that at one point, or you did, flatline.
So when we had the accident, what happened was my friend lost control of the car. My boyfriend and I were arguing because I was like, I need to hurry up. I need to go home, get changed, and I need to go down to North Bergen and meet up with my friends. And he was like, nah, you're not leaving. You're not doing that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we were arguing back and forth. And my boy that was driving was like, if you guys don't stop arguing, I'm going to scare you. And it had been raining at the time, apparently. And he went from 60 to 100, lost control of the car. He tried to swerve, like to move out. We hit one car, they moved out of the way, and then our car bounced again, and we hit another car, and that car ended up turning. And my ex told me the last thing he remembers seeing is as we hit the car in the back, he saw the little infant in the back seat.
Oh man.
What ended up happening was their car turned, and so we hit head on, like the driver's side and the back seat behind the driver's side, that portion of the car hit their car, scraped off of them, hit the exit ramp. And as we hit the exit ramp, our car flipped up in the air. I was ejected out of the back window, and the tire from the back of the car, the back tire got caught on the exit ramp, and instead of flipping, it kind of teetered, tick-tocked like back and forth, and then landed upright. So when my body was ejected, I flew across the highway, and I skid across, hit that side, like, rail between the two oncoming traffic, like two sides of the traffic. So I hit that side rail, and it dinged me back to where the car was. So I literally skid across the highway back and forth. And when my body got next to where the car was, if the tire wouldn't have gotten stuck, it would have flipped and landed on top of me.
Nick and Jojo, if you ever listen to this podcast, my kids, do you see why I don't like it when you guys are fighting in the back seat? And 2, I have a lump on my throat right now. I feel like nauseous just imagining what your body was going through. I think you're going to make me cry. Fuck.
And this is another thing. Whether you're in the back seat or not, make sure you're always wearing your seatbelt. Because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And they said that when they got to the car, ambulance told my parents that my sneakers, I literally flew out of my sneakers. My sneakers were still right in the same spot. And I didn't have my seatbelt on, nothing. And we were in a 1998 Honda Accord. And so it was a 2-door. And so I actually flew out of that little triangular small window. So I actually have it looks like ice cream scoops holes on my side from me taking the frame with me. And the doctors told my parents if I didn't have a big butt, that I could have been paralyzed from the way that my body bounced around.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I flatlined at the scene of the accident, and this was before even EMTs got there. So,
is it safe to say that it was kind of blessing that you passed out and didn't get to witness this shit? Because, damn.
Your mind is an amazing, amazing piece of artwork, I should say, because it blocked out all of that. I don't remember. Although, for a little while after the accident, when the first time getting into cars, if a car flew by me or cut us off real quickly, I would have flashbacks and I would see bits and pieces of the accident.
Wow.
But I don't really remember anything. Now, what I do know is what my ex told me, what my roommate had told me, and what my parents told me from the EMTs. When I was ejected out of the vehicle, there was 5 of us in the car. So it was my boy who was driving, my ex-husband up front, myself, my boy who was driving, his little brother in the middle, and then my roommate on the other side. So I was sitting in the back seat behind the passenger, and when the car flipped and it ejected me, I landed, literally swoosh across the highway, and when everybody got out of the car, my ex had gone, he said he hit his head on the dashboard and he kind of blacked out for a second, and then when everything stopped and he saw that I was on the highway, he got out. He said when he got to my body, I wasn't moving, and I wasn't moving for a couple of minutes, and everybody's freaking out. And he said that at one point my body kind of jerked up on its own and fell back down.
Oh shit.
Like literally, like
yeah.
it just like a ghost or something. And only thing that I can remember is if anybody has ever seen the movie Ghost.
Yeah.
You remember the scene where he dies and he's walking towards the light and he sees his body and everything
Yeah.
around him is like gray? That is
Somebody help! Somebody
that is
help us!
exactly yeah, that's exactly what I went through. I saw my body on the floor. Everything around me was kind of hazy, and I remember seeing my body and just like feeling like I don't feel anything. Well, okay.
Yeah. You weren't fucking meant to die that day.
No.
No way.
No.
No way.
I remember I saw my body on the floor, and I remember feeling like, all right, so there's a light. Let me just whatever. I literally just started walking towards that light, and as I'm walking towards the light, I don't necessarily see God. I can hear him, and I can hear him telling me, "It's okay. You're okay." And my uncle, my favorite uncle who had passed away, I hear him saying, "Come on, I'm waiting for you." I see my grandfather who had passed away, literally faces smiling down at me. My girlfriend from high school who drowned, I see her face looking at me smiling. And so I see all these warm smiles welcoming me, and I hear my uncle saying, "Come on, I'm waiting for you." So I'm like, oh my God, I literally just start walking towards him. And then all of a sudden, I feel somebody grab my arm and pull me. And when they pulled me and I look up, I feel myself back on the floor and I feel all this pain on my body. And when I'm looking, it's Danny. And I see Danny looking at me going, "You're not going anywhere." And I start crying, and I literally feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. I don't feel the pain from the accident. I feel the weight of the world. And I'm sitting there, I'm laying there crying, and he's holding my hand. And I remember him rushing on my face, telling me, "You're not going anywhere. The first time I met you, you told me before you died, people were going to know your name. Your name was going to be up in lights." He's like, "This is not your time yet." And I remember just telling him, "But God is telling me I can go. My uncle's saying he's waiting for me." He goes, "I died to save you. You're never going to understand this, but I'm here to save you."
Well,
He's like, "So you can't go nowhere."
Because nobody knows why he died.
Nobody knows why. There was nothing. They did 3 autopsies on him. His heart just stopped. And so he was like, "I was meant to die to be your guardian angel." And I was like, "But why can't I just go? Like, I don't want to feel this pain. Like, this is excruciating."
Yeah.
I said, "I don't want to feel this no more." And he's like, "No." He's like, "You're going to have to go through this. You're going to go through life, and you're going to make something of yourself. And people are going to know you before you die. Everybody's going to know who you are.
Wow.
And until then, I'm going to make sure that you're good." And I guess at that moment when my body, I felt him pull me, it was that moment where my ex saw my body jerk up and fall back down. Because right then and there, he said, "After you jerked up like that, I saw you start breathing heavily." So I flatlined there. I had my death experience and then came back, and I was told that I wasn't allowed to leave yet.
1, it's safe to say that God is a man.
I would think so.
And 2, in episode 6, I do believe in the guardian angels, because in episode 6 I talked about depression, and as I'm walking towards the train, spoiler alert, as I'm walking towards the train to jump in front of this train that's coming at 80, 90 miles an hour, something pulls on my sweater, something tugs on my sweater. I turn around because there's nobody. I turn around to see what was that, and there was nobody there. So that tug stopped me from continuing to walk. I turn around and there's nothing there. So I do 100% believe in guardian angels.
He has been, the day, like I said, the day he died was the hardest. It was so hard because he was there when my childhood friend.
She wants to cry. She wants to cry.
He was there when my childhood friend was murdered.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was the one helping me through it and telling me it was going to be okay. He's in a better place. Like, you know, there might be another reason for him on the other side.
Yeah.
And so when he died, and then him telling me I died to save you, my mom said that, because of course after the accident I fell into a coma for about 52 hours, sorry, 52 hours. And my mom said that when I came to from being in a coma, the first things out of my mouth was, I gotta go, Danny's waiting for me. And she was like,
Wow.
no, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. Danny is dead. He is not waiting for you. We are waiting for you. And so, like, I know that he is my guardian angel, and he's still here. I have in my room, actually, I have like a little shrine area where I have my grandparents who had passed. It's like a little memorial area.
Yeah.
I have my grandparents who had passed, my uncle who had passed, and I have Danny's picture up there. And Danny, I know Danny was meant to stay with me, because even months and after the car accident and a couple years after the car accident, I had an experience at my house where my lights were flickering on and off. And I don't know if you're into spirituality or if you're into like some santeras and all that
Go
stuff.
listen to episode Daddy Wasn't There. I do
Okay.
believe in ghosts.
So I was raised Christian with my mom's side of the family and Catholic with my dad's side.
Yeah.
And then my mom became more spiritual. And so I became more spiritual. I pray to God. I believe in all that stuff. But I also believe in there's something else there. And so I had somebody tell me once, randomly come up to me and say, there's a male figure that follows you everywhere. And it's not an older gentleman, because I was like, oh, my granddad. And they were like, no, it's not an older guy. It's a young guy. It's a young kid. And he follows you everywhere. And so one day I was at home and the lights were flickering, like literally playing on and off. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with those fuses. Like, what is going on? So I just standing there in the hallway, I'm like, Danny, are you playing with my lights right now? And I'm like, if it's you, do me one thing. Just turn off the lights, leave them off for a couple seconds, then turn them on and turn them off real quick. And it happened.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. That night I went to bed and I said my prayers, and I made sure to say something to Danny, and I was like, you know what? If you were here today, it makes me feel good to know that you're still around with
He's
me.
watching over you.
And at that moment, it was dark in my room and a light started like shining in my face. And I turned over and it's Danny laying next to me, smiling. He brushed my face, winked, and then disappeared.
Wow.
And I was like, holy cow. I got out of bed. I jumped up. I ran to my mom's room. I was like, Mommy, Danny's here. She's like, the hell you mean Danny's here? I was like, Mommy, Danny was just here. I just saw his face. He just touched me. And after AJ was born, when AJ was born, AJ used to talk to a corner in his crib and used to always smile at it. And I'm like, I used to always tell my husband, I'm like, why does he just watch the way he interacts with the corner of the crib? Yeah. And one day my husband came home from work and he was like, babe, I smell Danny. Because Danny used to have this, he would always wear Adidas cologne. Yeah. And he was the only person that we knew that wore Adidas cologne. So my husband was like, babe, it smells like Danny's around. And my husband is he's very much so into, he believes in, the spirits and all that stuff too. And he sees firsthand what I have gone through. So he knows, like, he can feel that. And he was like, I think Danny's here. That night, AJ started talking, like babbling, to the corner of his bed and was just smiling and laughing. And I said to Dre, I was like, I think Danny's playing with him. We felt Danny all day here. Yeah. I said, I think Danny's playing with him. And after that day, I never saw Danny again. AJ said one day that there was a young guy in his room playing with him and smiling and laughing. And when I showed him the picture of Danny, I was like, did he look like this? And he goes, Mommy, that's him. That's him.
Wow. He's watching over you guys.
He's watching over you guys.
So your boy needs your attention now. So real quick, in August, you will be starting your own podcast. Yes. What is the name of the podcast going to be?
It's going to be Confessions of a Scarred Barbie. So basically, it's going to be my similar to what you talk about, my life experience, but also things that I'm trying to bring awareness to, and just make people feel like they're not alone.
Okay.
So confessions of what I've been through, and hopefully what others have gone through as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go be a mama because he's been needing your attention for the past 5 minutes. And I'm going to thank you for taking the time being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get some of my listeners to go listen to yours in August. And like I end every podcast, Barbie, thank you for riding with me.
Thank you. Namaste. Make sure you namaste the shit out of your ride too.
Thank you for listening to Ride With Me, the Flat Tire Indie Podcast. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean.